Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh? Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall, and y'all know what type of time I'm on. I'm here with P.Stock, and we are here to address the culture, right, P?
That's right. We here. It's time. It's time to address the culture and make it happen. You know, this is the time that we like to bring on guests and you know, so you can gauge people and see just that some of the administrative and stuff behind, like the FMA and the MMA and UFC and martial arts, in the past, a lot of people think you got your, you assume it's one way, but we don't like to take anything for granted. We like to hear it straight from the people.
Yeah.
We bring in the people, so, and that's how we do it to settle it. So, and here at Address the Culture, it's no same. We do the same thing, man. That's what we like to do. The platform is there to address the culture, for sure. So I mean, like everything, the culture in the news is always growing, bro. Anything, that stood out to you this past week?
Man, you know what, man? It's been so much going on in the culture, man. We gonna have to do us a culture shock. You know what I mean? And really talk about everything that's going on. You know what I mean? But like today, it's kind of different. You know what I'm talking about? Like I love these kind of shows that we got because we got somebody that's so accomplished. That's been doing so many amazing things in the culture. When we talk about helping people, developing ideas, thoughts, families. You know what I mean? And helping people, reach certain heights in their career as far as the masters and everything, the Hall of Fame. Like we got some official people that's coming through and that's gonna do their thing. Now we got a familiar face. Y'all already know.
Y'all already know.
We got Darren coming through.
And he's official. He's official.
That's what I'm saying.
He's official as they come, right there.
Like they say, official with like a referee with a whistle. You know what I'm talking about?
That's right. Right.
And that's there. You know what I'm saying? T-Bone, as they call him. You know what I'm talking about? He comes through, man, and he's our guy, he's our tour, and he comes through with so much knowledge. And he loves to help the culture and to develop the culture
and
as well.
address
so
the
culture. We got Darren coming through to spin a block. And we got somebody else. Tell them about a little bit who we got coming on today. You know what I mean, B?
Yeah, we have Dr. Dan Hecht coming in.
Yeah.
And that's huge, for the world of martial arts.
Yeah.
Okay. He is the CEO of the Masters Hall of Fame. And that's big dogs for real. That's huge, I mean.
Yeah.
And it's like the gold jacket club of the martial arts world, and there's no other way better way to put it. Tough job. I wouldn't want to have his job. Wouldn't want to have the decision making to do, But hey,
look. Like, let's be real. These are not the people you want to get mad. You know what I'm
No. I tell you what. I bet you any money he can go to. They don't want no smoke.
They don't want no smoke.
No smoke at all.
But they say you got to bring one to get one. You know what I'm
That's
talking
right.
about?
That's right. That's right. So it's all love, in the culture, and that's the way we like it to be. We like to just bring diversity to everything, because that's what we in. We on a diverse planet here, and in a diverse times, and you're right. We got to do a culture shock because I have something to add to that about the diversity of the times now. But
look,
it's
It's so much going on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cause look, I don't want to jump off the subject because you know how we get when we get into that culture shock. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, it's so much going on. So we're going to stay focused and we're going to talk about the legends that we got on two spinning the block. Y'all already know, but y'all know what we got to do. We got to stop. We got to pay a few bills. You know what I'm talking about? As soon as we spin the block, we're going to be back with T-Bone. You know what I'm saying? Tell us a little bit about who we got in a little bit more detail. You know what I mean? And we're going to be back to address the culture.
No doubt.
Because the bar game crazy, man. I see you over there going crazy on a project. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, man. Just being consistent. You know what I'm saying? Understanding where I want to go musically. You know what I'm saying?
Like, now you spoke about a team, man. And I know you work with the Networking Queen. You know what I'm saying? I work with the Networking Queen too. My management. Shouts out. Yes. You already know the vibes.
So when I was coming up, it was all about getting a record deal.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about building your own label and your own thing from the beginning. I think it would be more of that, even though we did have Master P there, you know what I'm saying, and everything else, but it was also all about being signed, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it was. I probably would have took that chance way, way sooner. You know what I'm saying, on building it from the ground up. You dig what I'm saying? What's good? It's the kid Stevie Stone. And right now you are tuned in to address the culture. Big shout out to my family, Big Wall. Much love. Hear me.
We gonna talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh?
There he is. We got brother Darren Tabon in the house. You know, what's happening, Darren, man? You know, it's like a family reunion every time we see you.
Of course.
What's going on with you, bro?
Brother P.Stock, brother Tone Big Wall Capone. You know, we have Hanshi, Daniel Hecht, the CEO of the Masters Hall of Fame here today, you know, on the show. And it's an honor to have him. But, you know, looking back, you know, as a young kid, a martial artist, and then, you know, teenager, and then a guy that runs a school, you know, we put our heart and souls into what we teach, what we do. And then, you know, sometimes you get a notification that people are recognizing what you have contributed, you know, in the martial art world. And next thing you know, you're inducted for a Hall of Fame, you know, for your hard work. But, you know, it was during a time when I was running tournaments, you know, with the Disney Martial Art Festival, the Long Beach Internationals, and the Stockton Legacy tournaments and qualifiers for Disney, when I did get a notification, you know, from a gentleman from the Masters Hall of Fame as an ambassador. And that gentleman was Shihan Dana Abbott. And he nominated me for the Masters Hall of Fame. And to be honest with you, it has touched my life, because when they put me in the Masters Hall of Fame for Filipino martial arts, I was also asked to be an ambassador to the Masters Hall of Fame in selecting Hall of Famers from FMA in the Masters Hall of Fame. So in doing that, I had the opportunity to work with Hanshi Daniel Hecht, who's in charge, the CEO of the Masters Hall of Fame. And I believe I made about 5 inductions since 2009. And it really changed my life a lot, getting to know people for one, analyzing people and what they have done and contributed, and the amount of years they've been teaching, training martial arts or FMA in general. So it completely put me in tune with the people in the world. And when you look at the Masters Hall of Fame, it's international. What's very unique about it, in attending the Masters Hall of Fame, you see soldiers, being inducted for what they've done in military. You see law enforcement being inducted, even firemen being inducted. And I fell in love with that whole concept on how the Masters Hall of Fame looked at various people, that work for a living on the job, and a lot of them that use martial arts on the job, but to, recognize great people in the military, law enforcement, and to share that with, several hundred people in one room, it really touched my heart and my soul. But today we have Hanshi Daniel Hecht, the CEO of the Masters Hall of Fame, and he's a great man. And I can't wait to listen about his life, because I believe he was stationed in the Philippines for many years, and he also trained Filipino martial arts. But besides that experience he's had is the experiences of his whole life. And I'd like to hear that, I highly respect Hanshi Daniel Hecht, and to have him on this show, it's an honor, and it's a great honor for me to have him on board. So thank you, Brother P.Stock, Tone Big Wall Capone, Al-Udin 19, for offering this platform, to coordinate shows, to recognize the people that are great to me, great in my heart, and what they have done for the martial art community.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
On,
the gold jacket.
You know what we here to do? We here to address the culture.
Gold jacket.
No smoke.
No smoke. No smoke.
And we here to do that, man. But now, before we bring on the doc, let's talk about the Legacy 9 coming up in Vegas.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I launched.
What's going on?
Yes, I launched actually the first flyer for it. It was 5 days ago, and it's really on fire. There's a lot of people connecting. They're still working on some things for people to pre-register, with a code bar on there. Yeah, and I hope everything's connecting on that part, because with the cap, because of COVID, of only 300 allowed in there, and let's hope things clean up more. And it's actually a 400 capacity. So I think the more the better. But, when you look at the great people on this roster, including the healers, and it's the first time I've ever tried to coordinate this. So, I asked Brother Palaka Namahoy to please, take over the healing aspect and go ahead and select the people that you want on board for this. So this is going to be a very, very different legacy, with the healers and the screamadors coming together. But at the same time, 2 shows will be filmed, and Brother Val Majelovic will edit the show Palaka films, and then break down into the beginning of a new series on the healers, the indigenous healers of Hawaii, Philippines, and they're bringing in Native American healers, Polynesian healers too. So what a beautiful legacy this is going to be able to do this, right? And like a lot of guys said, if anybody could pull this off, it's Brother T-Bone, right?
Yep.
And ain't nothing impossible.
Yep, Darren, you can do it. Darren can do it.
I could do it.
No doubt.
But it all comes down to a team effort. If you got the right people on your team, anything's possible. And if you have Hanshi Daniel Hecht on board today, a true blessing for the martial art community and the people that this organization of the Masters Hall of Fame, they recognize. What's going on a yearly basis, but COVID slowed things down. And I'd like to hear what Dan has to say about the next Masters Hall of Fame that will go on. And I believe, hopefully, 2023 is going to be that time.
Yeah.
Because since then, I've already coordinated, and I filmed the one Legacy 8 San Carlos, and now we're going to film Legacy 9 Las Vegas. So there's so many great people I've contacted are jumping on board, the Legacy Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so many guys that need to be recognized and hopefully accept induction to the Masters Hall of Fame too.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Definitely. Definitely a big shout out to Aladdin 19 for
definitely
making it happen.
Brother Aladdin 19. And, me and brother Aladdin 19, we probably talk on a day-to-day basis too. He's such a great guy to talk to. In many ways, he's a mentor too. And I look at things in one way, he looks at things in another way, but you look at the truth behind it. And it's an addition to how I do a lot of things today with the help of brother. So, Aladdin 19.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nothing like perspective, right?
Yeah, nothing like perspective.
You know what I mean? Darren, that's something that always impressed me. You know what I'm saying? You spoke about team. You know what I mean? And how important that is. You always are being a vessel to shine light on others. You know what I mean? To give them the opportunity for their stories to be told. It seems like a bigger purpose for you. What about that drives you when we talk about the culture?
Well, like I had mentioned, my forefathers, my ancestors, coming from the Philippines to Hawaii, the Sakata, some of the first immigrants. But not only that, the first of 400 families to come to San Joaquin Valley, and then having a teacher like the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales, who came here in 1939, but in 1966, it is documented, he's the first Filipino martial artist to ever open up a commercial school in Stockton, California. So, having that kind of background, first of all, with my family, the Tibona family, and having a teacher like the late, great Grandmaster Angel Cabales, it just tells me where my heart goes for my family and the late Grandmaster Angel Cabales. If I could create an opportunity for other FMA teachers or Grandmasters to represent their teachers, because I've been doing this for so many years, it makes me feel really good for FMA in general. So the more people I can help, I feel it's a win-win situation for all FMA. So as long as I can keep doing this, but at the same time, open up opportunities for all martial arts in general. And that's what I've been trying to do, connecting with some of the early pioneers of Hawaii. But when you look at Hawaii, way back, it was a melting pot of so many different immigrants, okay? You not only had the Hawaiian, the Polynesian, the Japanese, the Chinese, even Korean on that island. You look at what took place on that island, and we've had shows, talking to Brother Adam James, Palacanamo Boy, Professor James Hunden, and everybody's sharing, and Brother Passy, on the people when they grew up as kids. Who were the teachers? Who influenced them? And, I've said this many a times, and I've heard you guys say this. If we don't talk about it, it will get forgotten.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at this show as a documentation of martial arts, of FMA. Okay. Now we have on board the CEO of, I feel, is one of the greatest Hall of Fames for martial arts in the world.
Yes.
So why not introduce the people, that are out there creating opportunities for martial artists to get recognition for all the hard work they have done. And it's addressing the culture too, bro.
And that's what I mean by it. That's a tough job to have because there's so much involved in the martial arts. and it's involved in a positive way too with the UFC and the MMA. So I know the horizon is great. I know he's setting up a great horizon for the future of the Hall of Fame as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to keep the legacy going. You know what I mean? Right here on the Dress the Culture. We're going to take us a quick break, and we're going to be back. You know what I mean?
Okay. Dr. Daniel Hecht.
In that order.
Good doctor.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and I'm here with the homie Big Wall, and you are now tuned in to Address the Culture, where we're addressing everything in the culture. Keep it locked.
Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come address the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh?
Young and AZ, man. Stay tuned in, man. We just getting started, man. We addressing the culture.
Address the culture. Yes, we have Dr. Daniel Hecht in the house.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Big fan.
Yeah, I like to say something to Dan. Look behind me, Dan.
I see that. I was going to mention that. I said I like the wallpaper you got behind you. I think my signature
surpassed awards of the Masters Hall of Fame, and I take great pride in them. So yeah, they are in my living room. You know, it's very sentimental.
He said my signature is on a few of those up there.
Yeah, he did.
Haunty Dan Hecht's signature is on all of them too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me to this great show, and I really like what you're doing. Culture and diversity is the lifeblood of our world, right? And I really appreciate bringing that to the forefront in a positive way, like you guys are doing it. And I'm honored to be on this show. Absolutely honored to be on this show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. We're honored to have you.
Good deal.
That's good. You know, so tell our viewers about your path. I mean, you have a very, we have something in common being veterans and the Philippines as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was there. That's on the other branch. I was in the Navy, so it was down, we was down in Subic.
That's okay. My son's in the Navy right now. He just got out of basics, so
yeah.
Good deal.
So it's a good deal. But
a little bit about me. So I grew up in a small town in Michigan, Farwell, Michigan, population 700, and it had one blinker light, right? One little blinker light to go on, and I tell you, when you talk about small town, that was it. Great American town. Loved growing up there. But I knew there was something much bigger for me, and I needed to do something to get out of that little town. And I went in the Air Force, right? So I went in the Air Force Security Forces. My first career, or my first base was Clark Air Base, Philippines, right?
Clark, Angeles City, Angeles.
And, that was a great time. I was there for a couple of years. It was a great time.
Look, I can tell how you said a great time. You know what I
mean? I have fond memories of the Philippines, the culture in the Philippines. I'm going to tell you a story that I remember vividly. A bunch of us had motorcycles, right? And we were going to Subic. We were driving down to Subic on our motorcycles, and it gets hot there, right? Just a little bit. Every once in a while, it gets a little hot. And so our bikes were getting overheated, so we pulled off. on the side of the road and in a village. And the family came out from the village to come talk to us. They invited us into their house. They cooked us dinner. We spent 3 hours with this family, right? And on the way off, we left. And this is just, a bunch of Air Force guys. There's like 7 of us, right?
Yeah.
All taking we had 250s, a little Honda 250s, just little teeny bikes going down to Subic. And they came out and they went out and killed a couple chickens, plucked them, and they cooked for us right there. It was just a very, and that's typical of that culture, accepting and I got a couple good stories like that where I did a lot of exploring in that country. Like we went out the main gate of Clark Air Base. There's a mountain there. I forgot the name of that mountain. Darren, you probably know it. The mountain right outside of Clark. Well, we climbed that mountain, and the villagers just helped. They were just super nice people, right? And did a lot of great things. But I met my first karate master there. I went to the Philippines. I put on my dream sheet. It's called a dream sheet where you wanted to go, and I wanted to go to the Orient, right? Because I was a big Chuck Norris fan. Yeah. And I wanted to learn karate like Chuck Norris, right? And so I went to the Philippines and started training with Ernie, and it was Ernest. My stick fighting was my first art. And I trained there for a little over a year with Ernie before I went back to the United States. But I loved every single bit of that culture there, and got to. I fought a little bit while I was there. It was not as structured as we have it here in the United States, right? We had fights in the bar, right? Where on stage, right? We had fights.
Yeah.
You remember those, don't you?
Yeah, that's like Thailand, and Thailand was similar too, where they had the Thai rings. You go to the club, you can fight the house champion.
You're right. You're right. See all these right here?
Oh yeah.
These have been replaced.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of fond memories there. So I trained there for a little over a year, and then I got transferred back to the States, and then I trained in Mutaquan at Wartsmith, Michigan. I trained Mutaquan there, and I trained there for about 2 years before I left Wartsmith. Never really got a lot of rank there. It was more about training, and I was in police work in the military, so I was doing practical application all the time, right? As a police officer in the military. But what I call my primary instructor was Jesus Miguel Sanchez, and he was a Goju guy, and by far the best martial artist I've ever trained with. And I've trained with some of the best in the world, right? But you talk about somebody that understood how to fight and understood the value of kata and traditional martial arts training. Like we'd go to tournaments, and he would use bunkai from a kata, and that's all he would use in the tournament and destroy everybody. I'm not even a little bit destroy. I'm talking about destroy everybody. And he would use bunkai from one of the katas, and he would just use techniques from that bunkai to prove a point to the students that kata was a part of fighting. It wasn't just a way to control, and everybody thought that it was a way to control belt structure. But once you broke down kata and then bunkai and how that kata was applied and used it in real life, it's amazing, right? It's truly amazing. So I watched him fight, and he was, like I said, probably the most technical person I've ever trained with. And I had the opportunity to earn a black belt with that man. I trained with him. I was Ichi-san. I lived with him for 4 years. So once I was brown belt, I moved in with him and his wife Jennifer, and I lived with them until I got my third dan, right? And then my career took me path of law enforcement, and I went to work at USC. He went to in law enforcement as well. We were both federal police officers at one time. He went up to corrections in northern California, and we still had that relationship of a student instructor. But I started training with other people Otto Johnson, the great Otto Johnson, and I know the late great Otto Johnson. Now, the people I got to train with, and I'm only naming a handful of them, are just significant martial artists. Otto was one of those guys. It was like going to big man's camp when you train with Otto. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". At the time, I was pushing 285, 290. Otto was, God, Darren, how big is Otto? About 6'9"? Yeah. Well, I mean, his hands were like ham hocks, okay? When he hit you, it reverbed through his body. I was Suzuki for his 8th Dan. When he tested for 8th Dan, he grabbed me and dislocated my shoulder.
Wow.
He snatched me and popped my shoulder out of its socket. I had to go to the side and pop my shoulder back in and let him finish his test. I mean, this is how powerful that man was.
Wow.
So I got to train with Otto for a while, and then I met, through Otto, I met David Dye, and that's who I've been training with ever since. And Soki David Dye is an Aikido guy, but he turned me on to Taijutsu, which is a art from Japan that was built for Tokyo police, right? It's an art for police officers. And this is what I've been doing for, most of my career. My karate, my martial arts training applied to what I did as a profession, right? And that's just the way I did things. And then when I found Taijutsu and David Dye, it just fit. And I had, 6 or 7 black belts that were training with me. They're all from other systems that we were all training together. And, we just get together and train. And then we formed Taijutsu under David Dye. And I was promoted within that system. He gave me my own rue. And Alohe was able to sign off on that and bless me. And Alohe is a phenomenal guy. I know you guys talked about Alohe most likely. And he blessed me. And I've been honored to be a part of that community for a long time. In this process is when I got inducted to the Hall of Fame. I was inducted in 2003. And in 2006, the previous owner was looking to sell it and sell the organization. He wanted to move on to do something else. He was working on some international projects, and he just didn't have time for the Masters Hall of Fame. And at the time, it wasn't a very diverse organization. It's a great organization, but it didn't have my vision. And that it truly did not have my vision. I saw the Masters Hall of Fame is this organization that would encompass excellence in the martial arts, right? Truly encompass excellence in martial arts, wherever that excellence was. And Darren touched on this. We've got police officers that have spent a career in law enforcement that teach defensive tactics and save people's lives every day. Firefighters, police officers, military men, all these folks that don't have the traditional training, like go to a dojo and train in a dojo, but they train every day in their own field, right? And they're still training martial arts, but they're not at a dojo. They're training in a mat room someplace. And we had to find a way to recognize that excellence. Not only that excellence, but the excellence of people like Cynthia Rothrock and Don Wilson and Gene LaBelle, all the legacies of our industry. We had to recognize them as well. And so how we did that is we came up with a board of advisors, right? A board of ambassadors like I have with Darren. And I had them reach out into the community and find these leaders, these people that are leaders in their community. They're solid martial artists, and they needed to be recognized, and we blew up. The simple fact is we became the key martial arts recognition organization in the United States by far. There's a lot of good people out there, and I'm not taking away from any of those folks, and they're all friends of mine. But when I look at the event that we created, and when I say we created, I wouldn't have done it without people like Darren and people like Gene, right? I wouldn't have done it without them, because I don't have the reach that they have in those communities, but I have a platform. And by making sure that I had production teams, like you guys understand production, you're doing this right now. It's not, this doesn't come together as it's work. right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
it is work.
there's work involved in this, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, we did production teams. We had for a while we had a magazine out there, the Masters magazine, and then and Robert Parham was running that, and then Michelle Manu was running the Martial Arts World News on a YouTube channel. We had several interviews going on that. That was a lot of fun too. And she just talked kind of like what we're doing here, just talk to different masters. The other thing I did is I had a radio show in San Bernardino on KCAA. It was Kicking It Old School with Dan and Eddie Morales. And Eddie's a great guy if you haven't met Eddie yet. And we had a radio show once a week where we bring in martial arts masters from around the world and just have a conversation with them for an hour. It was just a great experience. And it all drove to recognizing excellence in the martial arts. And so that's my martial arts career, my law enforcement career. I'm a retired police chief now. I retired. I moved from California to Ohio, and became a chief out here, and I was a chief at several different agencies out here. But now I left policing, and now I'm a financial advisor. Still helping families, still doing the things I need to do, but different mission now. Just that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's big. That goes along with the position of the Hall of Fame. Yeah, of being in control of that. It helps, and you can help your members and everything, and they can help.
Think about this. Think about this. And Darren, I was talking with Darren on this when he talked to me about coming on your show. Mm-hmm. How many of these great masters do you know that are financially independent? Yeah. They have impact in this world. There's no doubt. Yeah. And what really struck me was Sensei Dai. During COVID, Sensei Dai almost had to close dojo. Now he's been there 40 years, the same place for 40 years. And, with COVID going, you had to pay your rent or you're going to lose your space, right? Right. We had to call the black belts together, and we came up with a plan to keep his doors open through COVID. Mm-hmm. But if we just would have done something, if martial artists understood the value of compounding interest, that we could solve that problem forever. Oh, yeah. $500 a month. Just start putting $500 a month into a high interest rate mutual fund, and it'll be there for you when you need it. Yeah. It just will be. It doesn't have to be truckloads of money, and you just got to put it away and leave it alone until it's absolutely necessary to take it out. Mm-hmm. But I was talking to another great martial artist, Bob White, and he was sharing that he's been in the same location for, I think it's been 50 years, long time, right? Same location. And he did the math, and he had spent over $2 million in rent. Wow. Right?
He could have bought it.
He should have bought it. Right. But we don't think like that as martial artists. We're kickers and punchers. Mm-hmm. Right. We kick and punch. Right. And I get all that. And, martial arts has taught me so much, being excellent in my craft. Right. Mm-hmm. Now, I wasn't just good at karate. I was good at everything I did because the martial arts taught me how to focus on it. Be disciplined. Right. Yeah. Be disciplined. One of my mentors told me, Dan, you're too linear, right? When I was trying to be promoted in law enforcement, he goes, you got military and police and your martial arts, you're very linear. You need to broaden yourself. You need to go back to school. Like, man, the last thing I want to do at 40 years old is go back to college, right? Right. But I went back to college, fell in love with it, stayed in until I got a doctorate, right? I got 2 master's degree and a doctorate. I got a master's degree in liberal studies, man. I was studying health stars and the El Segundo blue butterfly, the migration patterns. I'm going to tell you the whole semester, the migration patterns of El Segundo blue butterfly is they never leave El Segundo. That sums that whole class.
They never leave.
They never leave. So I did my master's thesis on the impact of martial arts on law enforcement, right? And when I took that to my the chair of the program, they said, well, that doesn't have academic relevance. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. One of my professors did his PhD on the folk tales of the Irish cave dwellers. Right? I'm like, wait, okay, so we've got folk tales, oral folk tales, not written, right? And he's got a doctorate. and you're telling me the impact of martial arts on law enforcement doesn't have relevance. So I won that battle.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
That master's thesis was a launching point for one of my black belts who got his doctorate from USC, and he did his doctoral dissertation on training, police training, including martial arts, police training for martial arts, for arrest and control, not martial arts, for arrest and control. And so he took my doctoral thesis. Dr. Joe White, who was one of my mentors, the guy who told me I was too linear, he took his doctoral thesis, which was the unintended consequences, the theory of unintended consequences. And he wrote about removing the chokehold from police tools, right? And we used those two, and he wrote his curriculum, and he defended his doctoral dissertation at USC using the same concepts that we talked about in my dissertation and my thesis. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then I moved on to my doctorate, and I did my doctorate, and the impact of my doctorate was on active shooter. So one of my active shooter was a big deal. One of my partners was killed by an active shooter, and and I was in my first class of my doctoral process, and I started writing about it. I'm published on the topic. I'm not saying I'm an expert on this topic because it's growing all the time, but I put a lot of research here, and I'm published. I've did seminars all over the world, Hawaii and Belize. Did a couple different seminars there and presentations. I've been published in a couple different journals, peer-reviewed journals on the topic. But it's all if you can look at it's all related to the martial arts world, right?
Yeah.
And I use that focus I developed through karate, because I wasn't a natural athlete. I used that focus that I developed from karate into the martial arts world, and from the martial arts world into my academic world, into my police world, and now into the financial advisement, being a financial advisor.
It's full circle, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like without one, you can't be successful in the other, because they kind of all feed each other. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not sure that's what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is martial artists can be successful in anything they want to do. Right? My body doesn't let me train like I used to do. Right? My knees are gone. I mean, literally, I'm asking the VA for a knee replacement right now because my knee buckles every time I walk out the door. So I'm the old guy with the cane that needs it. Right? Not doesn't carry the cane. Where's my cane? Yeah. It doesn't carry the cane because I want to use it as a weapon on the airplane. I need it because I need it.
You need it. Right? Yeah, you need it.
And so my body doesn't respond anymore, but my heart's still there, if that makes any sense. So,
yes.
Well, with the discipline and everything that you're speaking about, like in order to be successful, like you said, going back to school at 40, that takes discipline. Like, you know what I mean? That takes... and I'm pretty sure the things you learn in martial arts and other aspects of your life help you to make it through that. You know what I mean? Because it's just something a lot of people wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Big Wall, you're right on the point there. I still spell like a third grader. Thank God for all of that, man. I mean,
spell check.
A lot of kicks to the head. But you're right. It's right on point.
Yeah. So. Look, now I want to ask you, because I know, being the head of the Hall of Fame, I know you get. I could imagine. I could be wrong, but it's some scrutiny that comes along with it too. You know what I mean?
I missed that
scrutiny that can come along with that. You know what I mean? We have people that feel like they should be inducted, and then we have those who feel like, why is that person inducted? You know what I mean? So
I have those conversations every year.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
You know what I mean? So how do you deal with that when it comes to the scrutiny that comes along with being in such a high position?
Well, a lot of people self-eliminate, right? Okay. They just self-eliminate. You can't just show up. As you know from production, what it takes to put on this show, multiply that by 100 people that we're recognizing. And if you don't do the things that you need to do to be in the program, then shame on you, right?
Right.
This is the Masters Hall of Fame. This isn't, we're not going to Walmart, right? Nothing against Walmart, but that's not where we're going. This is the Masters Hall of Fame. It's a black tie, world-class organization that recognizes excellence. If you show up in your half step and you show up in jeans, you ain't coming in, right? Sorry, it's a black tie event, right? I mean, I turn people around that have names.
Yeah.
Say, yo, man, I went upstairs and got a jacket for somebody my size, it was my size, and said, man, I can't let you in looking like that. Hold on, let me go grab, I've got an extra jacket for you. Let me give you a jacket.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's just understanding where you're at.
Right.
There's organizations out there that would allow that to happen because in their defense, it's about the person being inducted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I said, okay, that's fine. I understand that person is a significant martial artist, but do they understand where they're at? And if you're going to come in here not dressed appropriately, do you respect the honor that we're bestowing on you? I mean, the Masters Hall of Fame is, like I said, I'm very proud of what we've accomplished over the we started in 1999, so 23 years. COVID really put us down. I took a year off when I was defending my dissertation, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I do this is all I do. The Masters Hall, that's all I do. I can't write. I can't do anything else. I mean, I'm focused on making sure this happened. And it's like 5 months of my life every year that I focus on the Masters Hall of Fame. Yeah. And most of it gets barreled down right to the last 6 weeks when, I don't get any sleep. I literally catch a nap when I can because I've got stuff to do all the time. And now I'm lucky enough to have staff that does a lot of that. Before, it was just me and my wife that we did it all. And not the induction part, but the production part. And getting that stuff done, making sure the trophies were done and cut and delivered, making sure the names on the certificate were spelled right. All that stuff has to be checked, double checked, and triple checked.
The details.
Right? So,
the
very
details.
much in the details. Very much in the details. And there's still stuff that drops through the cracks. As Darren probably remembers, we've had a couple people that dropped through the cracks. Absolutely. They showed up at the event. They paid for dinner to come to the event. They didn't turn in their application to be inducted. And they showed up thinking they were nominated, but they didn't give me anything to do the background on. They didn't give me, because there's a check. We check the credibility of the person before we put them in the organization. Okay. We've had some people here that were, lifelong martial artists, but had questionable incidents in their past.
So you guys take all of that. So you guys take all of those things into consideration.
That's a part of the criteria. Okay.
Absolutely.
So because that's what I was just going to ask. Pete kind of said it for me. What is the specific criteria when we're talking about to get inducted into the Hall of Fame?
So there is a foundation. One, you have to have been in the arts for over 20 years, right? Okay. 20 years or longer. Okay. And I don't like to see a bunch of 20 guys that are 30 and 40 years old coming into the Masters Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. You have to be a 4th Dan or higher, or equivalent. Depends on your system, right? You have to be a 4th Dan or higher. Depends on your system. Some organizations they that's not how they rank their folks, but you have to have a certain level of gravitas to your name, and you have to have done something in your life that makes you worthy of recognition, right? Mm-hmm. Just opening a karate school and doing a couple seminars in the community, that isn't it, right?
Right.
Darren's a good example. Darren has done an amazing amount of things.
Yes.
Involved with Long Beach, involved with Disney. He was one of we did our event in conjunction with the Disney Martial Arts Festival because of the great work in the what's the word I'm looking for? The facilitation by Darren, right? We were able to make that happen where the Masters Hall of Fame led the parade at Disney, right? And our inductees led the parade at Disney. And that was because of the great work of Darren. Now I'm bringing this to a point. that's the kind of martial artist I want to recognize, right? Somebody that's in
the community as well. That's in the community, that helps out in the community. Because Darren, like you said, that's a high bar to set for Darren, because the stuff he do for the veterans as well as other organizations, he throws events and donates all the proceeds to different causes and stuff. So that's really giving back.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm honored to be around such leaders, right? Man, I was just a kicker and a puncher. I was a thumper when I was training. That's what I was known for. But I got the opportunity to do things at the Masters Hall of Fame. I was shocked I got inducted, to be honest, right? I was a 4th degree black belt at the time, still working the field, right? I wasn't an executive in the law enforcement. I was still out there. I was teaching, training all the time, training our officers. But that's what I was doing. I was a hands-on guy. I trained all the time, and I was diligent at my task.
Right.
And then David Dye showed me another side of the martial arts, right? And David Dye was one of the reasons that I took over the Masters Hall of Fame, knowing that it was, and David's been with the Masters Hall of Fame from the inception, knowing that Professor Spry was Steve Spry was gonna probably sell it. And I just happened to be lucky enough to make the right offer. And I got the organization and I ran with it. And I tell you, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it was a bunch of old white guys that met every year for drinks, right? That's what it was before I got involved, right?
And you know what? And I kind of picked up on that from you from the beginning of the show.
Yeah, what you said.
That you, when you got a hold of the platform, you kind of opened it up. You were more broader. You brought people of color. You brought people of different races, different backgrounds, different cultures.
I couldn't have that. I've got biracial children, man. I got my first wife was African American. My second wife's Cambodian. I've got to have a world around me that's diversified and understands diversity and the beauty of diversity. I can't live in a world like that.
Yeah, you gotta address it. Yeah.
I can't live in a world. I won't live in a world like that.
Yeah.
Right. Even where I'm working now. Right. I mean, and I'm beating a drum here, but the company that I work with, the organization that I'm assigned with, Forbes named the best employer for diversity in the financial industry.
Yeah.
Right. Every place else, it's old white guys like me. Now I love what I do, and I'm glad to be there. But 62% of the people that work with us are women. Over 62%.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just hired a guy from Ethiopia and a guy from Palestine.
Yeah.
Right. He was an investment advisor in Kuwait, came to the United States. We're going to get him his license. He's going to do it here. I'm happy about that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
diversity.
It's just important to me that we live, that not only do we talk about diversity, but we live diversity, right? It's not something that it's not a woke moment. It's our life, right? It is. It's our life. This is who I am. You know, you cut me to the core, that's who I am. So, and I've been that way the majority of my life, ever since I was in the military. The military kind of, as you know, sir, P.Stock, the military, you're a green machine, right? Yeah. Everybody works together. It doesn't, the stuff in society just doesn't play out in the military. No, they don't let it.
I want to ask you a question, because you spoke about you being a police chief as well.
Yeah.
You've had multiple careers in one lifetime. Where people, do one thing, you've done multiple in one lifetime, which is amazing. With you being a police chief and having a diverse mindset and understand that the world is diverse, how was that effective? You being in the police, in a position with the police, and wanting to be diverse, but not being able to sometimes have that in that community. Right. We talk about the police and the community. You know what I mean? Especially.
So I'll address that in two ways.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of working at the University of Southern California for 26 years. I wasn't a police chief there, but we're in the middle of South Central Los Angeles, right? So we had diversity around us. I had leadership that worked there that understood diversity. And working on a college campus, it isn't something that we talk about, it's something we do. Okay, so when I left USC, which is a very active police agency, there's over 300 officers on that agency. It's a big agency. I went to Denison University, and Denison University's up by Granville, up by Columbus, and they talked about diversity there. But they said, look, we're in a very monolithic area. We can't get people to come here of color. And I'm like, well, I think I can do that, right? I think I do that. And I was able to diversify our agency. I just advertised where people of color were looking, right? And so I was able to do that. And I hired, it was a small agency. We had, I want to say 20 total, including our dispatchers. So it was a smaller agency. I added 3 African-American officers and a dispatcher. And they were like, well, how did you get these folks? I'm not promoting Indeed, but I put my job description on Indeed and put it out there, and I got people from all over applying. One of the guys that I hired as the chief now, the African-American guy, he was working on his doctorate, and nobody would hire him because they were afraid they were going to take his job. Right? Because he's a successful guy. Right? And he's like, I'm trying to break into this field, but no one will give me a chance. I said, brother, I'll give you a chance. come work with me. And by the way, you're now my risk manager. Risk management. I said, I just offloaded a complete program to him, and he built a career on that and left there and became a chief at another college because of the opportunity. And I was happy to have him for 3 years or 2 years, whatever it was. Right. So I didn't have a problem with that at all. And then when I left college policing and went to municipal policing, it was different than working on a college campus. One of the things working for municipal police departments is you have city council members that are elected.
More politics.
A lot of politics. I had no idea. Right. I'm kind of right in the middle. I'm not right of center, left of center. I'm kind of right in the middle, you know. And I'd work on college campuses. I'd work with people to the left and to the right.
Yeah,
work with both. Yeah, but all of them had critical thinking skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Right. Yeah, there were very, very smart people, and with them, I may not agree with them. They may not agree with me. But we were able to have a conversation about a topic. In a municipality, because of the politics involved, it just wasn't the same. So for all the municipal chiefs out there, God bless you. I did it for a couple of years, time to retire. And I left municipal policing September of last year. So yeah, I retired out and didn't, not a bad thing. It's just, it isn't the same as working on a college campus. We don't have the same environment. The places I work, we actually have more activity on college campuses we did in these villages that I worked because there just wasn't a lot of crime in these villages I worked. But it just wasn't the same dynamic, right? And I got the opportunity to, that's how I got involved with financial advising. I met the person that hired me to try to fix my retirement after my divorce. Because you know what happens when you're divorced, right? Everything goes away.
Everything goes.
Yeah, everything goes, right? So, and I was married to a woman for 26 years. I'm not begrudging what the judge thought was fair because I thought it was fair too, but I still had to fix my retirement. So when I met Jim Sigg, I was like, I know a lot of cops that need this. And I joked, said, are you hiring? And he goes, yeah, I'd hire you in a minute. And I'm like, well, man, all I know about interacting with people is press hard 3 copies. I didn't have the social skills that I needed. I thought I needed to be in this environment. And he goes, man, don't worry about that. We'll soften you up and take the rough edges off. And that was in November, a year ago, November. By April 15th, I was ready to say enough's enough, right? And I left full-time policing April 15th a year ago. Okay.
Wow.
And then in September, I stayed on, I was still, wasn't ready to give up my gun and badge. In fact, I used to carry my gun to work at the office, right? Strapped, right?
You might as well.
They said, Dan, you're wearing a gun. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I've worn a gun my whole life. I mean,
yeah.
I couldn't make it without a gun. They said, well, man, you don't need a gun here. And I'm like, okay.
You
so
sure?
I do
You
it.
sure?
Yeah.
I got it right here.
It takes a while. It'll be over there if we need it.
For about 6 months, it was in the trunk of my car. I'm not kidding. I bring it in, put it in the trunk.
It was a slow process.
I had to break down mentally and say, okay, I'm no longer a cop. I'm not doing this. I'm helping families now before their life.
Yeah.
So that was why I went there, and I absolutely love what I do now, because now I get to help families every day. I'm not helping when their life's on fire, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to a domestic violence or a child custody issue or a lost child or an injury, a traffic injury, where I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm meeting families in their living room and saying, hey, look, if you just change a couple different things, I can retire you with $1.5 million in your bank account. Okay. All you got to do is change a couple things. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what do you mean? And I show them how to do that. I had a couple I just did, and she started crying. Now she's 48, her husband's 47. I asked them when they wanted to retire. They said, look, we're going to work till we die. And I'm like, well, why? Right? They make good money in Ohio. They make really good money. Mm-hmm. And so we sat down with them, and I was able to get them out of debt, completely out of debt, including their house and their cars, 3 of them in 5 years. 5 years, 6 months. Okay?
Wow.
Completely out of debt. And they'll have $1.1 million when they retire.
Wow.
With the same money they're already spending.
Wow.
The same money.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's magic what we do. I
was just about to call you Houdini. I was just about to call you Houdini.
Look, when I met Anna, my wife, who's at a retreat right now, or I'd have her over my shoulder, little Cambodian girl, she is wonderful. She is absolutely wonderful. I say this jokingly, but after my first wife, I deserve this one. So, but we met. Like I said, I was going through a rough time going through that divorce. I was literally living on top ramen, and I would schedule meetings around lunchtime because I knew people I was going to would feed me. Right? Mm-hmm. I was making good money, but I had 2 households to take care of. Right?
Yeah.
And so when we got together, she had just lost her husband the year prior. He right after their daughter was born, Angeline. She was 2 weeks old when he was diagnosed with brain cancer. Took him like that.
Wow.
And so she was, recovering from that, and she was about $50,000-$60,000 in debt, and I brought a truckload of debt with me. Well, over the last couple of years, we used the principles and concepts that we're using now. We are completely debt free. This month, at the end of this month, I write the final check on this house, and this house is paid for, right? And both my daughter and my son have $100,000 in a trust.
Nice.
They will never have to work. They will never have to work.
Yeah.
Right? They're 5 and 7 and have $100,000 in a trust, earning 12%. Yeah. So, and that's truly understanding finance. And I get excited about this. I never thought I'd be excited about this, but I get really excited about saying, "Hey, look, if we can just get I'll back up. Did you know when you have both of you look like you have had children or may have grandchildren? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were to put $1,000 into a vehicle that earns 12%, an investment vehicle earns 12%. When a child is born, they'll retire as a millionaire. Never have to touch it again. Just put $1,000 in a mutual fund and let it double. If it the rule of 72 states you divide your interest rate into 72, it'll tell you how many years your money takes to double.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you take 12 into 72, your money doubles every 6 years. Okay. You put in a 12% vehicle, every 6 years that money doubles. By the time they're retirement age, they have a couple $1 million. Put $1,000 away and tell them they can't touch it till they're retired. They will, their retirement will be paid for, right? It'll be paid for. Every child could be a millionaire when we retired. All we have to do is understand finance and how it works, compounding.
Compound interest. Yeah. That's how the millionaires and billionaires do it.
You know that's how they do it, right? You know that's how they
take $1,000 and put it in a mutual fund, and by the time my kids are ready to retire, they'll be millionaires.
They'll be millionaires. If you got a baby, when they're born, we do that for them. They'll be millionaires. Here's another one. If you put $5,000 away from the age of, let's say 22 to 29, 7 years, $35,000. All right. You put that into a fund that earns 10, 12%. Okay. And then you got, we call it the twin brother story. So you got one brother does that from 22 to 29, $5,000 a year. He has $35,000, says, look, I got a family now. I can't afford to do this. I'm just going to leave it set, never touch it. Now the other brother decides he's going to wait till he's 29 to do that. And he does $5,000 a year for the rest of his life. Who has more money at retirement? The guy that invested 35 or the guy invested 140?
The guy.
I think the guy with 140.
The guy with 35.
Compounding interest. It's the guy that invested starting at 22. And he never touches it again. It's like I said, it's magic. It's Houdini stuff. It's magic what we do. It's absolutely magic what we do. When I sit down with families and I show them what we can do, right? This is you before and this is you after. We're not, you don't need to make any more money. We're just going to repurpose and reallocate the money you're already spending. Right? The lady cried. I mean, she was sobbing, crying.
Wow.
Right? Her husband, it's funny, her husband hated his job so bad. He, on his way to work, he'd stop and get a Starbucks because that made him happy. Okay? Every day. Think about that for a second. Every single day he stopped at Starbucks, $7 a day.
Yeah.
Okay? $35 a week.
I feel where you're going with this.
I've got a calculator on my phone, right? It's easy calculator. If you want to download it, you can do compound interest on it. So I put that number in there. How long you been working there? 12 years. Okay. This is how much money you would have had in your investment account if you had to put that money away. His wife swatted him. I was like, okay, man, I am a cop. No domestic violence here. You guys separate, you know. Yeah, she went upside his head, and she's like, I can't believe you did that. That's only $7. Wow. It's $7 every day, right? And if you think about it, it's probably closer to 10 because you're probably tipping that girl, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at a couple $100 a week in coffee.
Oh yeah.
Or a couple $100 a month in coffee.
Yeah.
Right. And so you do that, a couple other things. His cable bill was, he had every channel you could possibly think of. I mean, every channel, right? And because we do a detailed budget for him, right? And then he was telling me about his budget, and I'm like, I've never seen a cable bill nearly $400, man.
Every month.
Every month, yeah.
And you know, like I said, they were making pretty good money for Ohio because I got every channel you could possibly think of. And I got stuff from overseas. I said, well, hey, man, how many of these you watch? He goes, well, I watch Fox News, I watch Cinemax, and I watch something else. I'm like, have you ever heard of Prime? Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Look, man, we can probably knock this down to about $50. So get your internet and Amazon Prime. So we saved them a couple $100 there. But we took all that money and put it in an investment vehicle for them. And we got them excited about being debt-free, right? And so that was really exciting. They got them excited about being debt-free. And they started using their overtime money because they would everybody gets overtime, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people get overtime. Well, they would spend their overtime on fun stuff. And they got $16,000 in credit card debt. You know, I'm like, well, I don't have a problem with you having fun, but let's get rid of the stuff that I call it the financial cancer. Let's get rid of the financial cancer you have, and then you guys can go have fun. So let's knock down this credit card debt. So they started doing that, and on their refrigerator. I was over there a couple of days ago, and on their refrigerator, they had their bills, and they put Post-it notes on them when they put money down, like an extra $50 would go, and they put a Post-it note on the bill that they were attacking that month. right? We attack one bill at a time. So they would just keep track like that. And then so I was really proud of them. They got a pretty decent return, and they called me up and they said, they wanted to know if they should invest it into a mutual fund or, excuse me one second. Excuse me, invest it in their mutual funds or a 401k or a Roth or pay down debt, right? So, but that's not just an easy answer. That's an answer that I got to sit down and reevaluate where they're at now to see are they better off now putting that money towards debt, or are they better off? Are they attacking that debt where they need to be and sticking that money over here in their mutual fund to get them retired faster? Because retirement isn't age. Well, it isn't. It's a bucket of money, right?
Yeah, it's when that number right.
Right.
That's
So I just did a plan for a guy that I worked with at a police agency, and I'm going to try to be because it's personal information, so I'm going to be as generic as I can. But he retired. He has $423,000 in his mutual funds. He's got $150,000 in a CD. And I'm like, look, man, that CD is not getting you anywhere, right? You're making a 1.5 on that CD. We need to, when you can cash that CD out, we need to put that into a vehicle that's getting at least 8%.
Right.
So we were talking about that, and he needed an extra $2,000 a month to be able to live after he retired, and he's retired, right? He's retired. And I said, okay, so let's put this together. I put together we call them hypos. I put together a hypo for him. He's getting just a little over 8%. With $423,000, and he takes $2,000 out a month. Okay, how much money do you think he has at the end of 25 years?
Oh, with that,
taking $2,000 out a month, $24,000 a year, out of that 423. Taking it out every month.
He has a couple million, don't he? He should.
Yeah, he has a $1.1 million, but he was not putting money in. He's taking
it out.
Yeah. And now he's drawing out. We call it a withdrawal plan. And when I showed him that, he was like dumbfounded. He didn't know how he was going to live on $423,000 for the rest of his life. I'm like, you don't have nothing to worry about, man. That's a legacy for you. We talk about legacy all the time. Darren and I do. My new focus on legacy is a financial legacy. My great-great-grandchildren, I want them to look above the fireplace and see a picture of Anna and me and go, because of great-great-grandpa Hecht, we live in this great place.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's the legacy I'm leaving with my family, right? And I'm working with some other great people, people of color that I'm working with, The Color of Money. If you get a chance, go look up that website, The Color of Money. And then there's another one I'm trying to think of, Darren's, Darren Barry. What's his website? I think it's called Black Wealth. I think that's what it is. I don't know, but he's another investment advisor, and their focus is on making sure that people of color have access to the same vehicles that everybody else in the world has. Right? Yeah. We don't teach this stuff. I was never taught the rule of 72 growing up. Right? I got an MBA and I wasn't taught the rule of 72. You know what I mean? I could run spreadsheets all day, but I didn't know how money doubled.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I thought about it, I'd think about it, but no one ever put that into, you could have a couple $1 million when you retire. I was a cop. I was just, I'm just going out and doing the job. I was comfortable with the job I was doing, not thinking about what that was going to be like.
Right.
Yeah. So once I realized that and realized that, there's a lot of cops out there that work till they're in their mid to late 60s because they have to. It's not because their body wants them to, because I'm telling you right now, my body is not allowing me to do the things I used to do. Putting that money to work for me early, would have been a really good. My ex-wife would have got half of it. That's fine. She deserves that half, putting up with my stuff. But I wasn't the best husband. It wasn't. But having the ability to put that away and making sure that our children are successful. Having generational wealth in our family is important, because I grew up poor. Right? I grew up dirt poor, and I just don't want that. All my family members are successful in their specific careers, but none of us ever thought about, are we going to leave anything for our kids? In fact, my brother, who makes more than I do, more than all three of my other siblings together combined in bonus, he goes, my kid, I earned it. My kids can earn their own. I'm spending every dime.
It's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, man, I earned it. I'm spending it. Damn it. That's the way it is. So, but,
that sounds like you have to for the legacy event, the Legacy 9. That part would be important too. A good factor to go over financial stuff with some of the various masters coming in that might need that might not know, like you said, to keep their schools open, to keep stuff operational.
Yeah. We're working on something right now, and I'm not real. It's not dialed in. It's not tied down yet. But I'm going to tell you the framework. We're working to getting a credit union associated with the Masters Hall of Fame. So there will be a financial section to the Masters Hall of Fame. Members of the association will have access to this credit union. We're going to also offer medical insurance. We have several providers that I work with that offer medical insurance at about half the going rate, which is amazing. And then, of course, we're going to offer financial products, right? So mutual funds, Roth. If you don't have a Roth, you're missing the boat. It's the greatest wealth building tool we have in our arsenal when you talk about creating wealth is a Roth IRA. And the reason that, if you don't know, the reason that's the greatest wealth building is it's taxed before you put the money in. So it's already taxed. All the money you bring out of that, all that interest is tax free. So think about it like this. You got a traditional IRA and you got a Roth IRA, both have $100,000 in them.
Yeah.
When you're at retirement, when you pull out your traditional and you're at 25% interest, they take $25,000 from you. Right? In a Roth, they don't take nothing. So if you're not in a Roth, I highly recommend get with somebody that understands finance and
get into a Roth.
Get a Roth. Get a Roth.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so interesting, man. I love your intake just across the board when we talk about everything, but the financial aspect of what you're doing is something that the community, the culture, the world needs to know. We need to do a financial series right here.
Yeah.
You can come on and
we would love to do that.
I'll
bring a couple of my friends that are of color onto this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To talk about what they're doing in their mission in life. I've got a friend that I work with. Her name is Shantae. She from Cincinnati. She says she's from the hood and she acts like it, right? She talks like it. She acts like it, right?
Yeah.
But she dropped out of school in ninth grade. She's a financial advisor and she is killing it.
Yeah.
Right? Man, my first training session, and this is no joke. My first training session, I was like, what did I get myself into? These people are crazy. And she told a story about delivering a death policy to a family because somebody had passed away. And I teared up. I mean, I didn't just tear up. I had to get up and leave. I cried. I mean, that's how impactful that was. And I'm a tough guy. And I haven't teared up in years. But what happened there, in way she explained it, and she took us through the emotional experience of that grandmother who lost her grandchild. They had a policy on her grandchild, right? It cut me to the core. Wow. And so that I had a similar experience maybe December of last year. I wrote a life policy for a family in California, and the mother had a child rider, and their kids were in their early 20s because after 23 or 24, they have to get their own insurance. But 2 weeks after she did the life insurance policy, her child was shot and killed in Los Angeles, right? Wow. Murdered in Los Angeles. Our company wrote the check, right? Now, there's other insurance companies. I'm not going to disparage them by name, but they have a 2-year window, right, where they can say, maybe or maybe not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks later. We wrote the check, right?
Wow.
And like I say, if I'm going to work for a company, it's got to be something like that. It's got to be somebody like that. It's got to be somebody.
That's amazing because they definitely have that 2-year window. So it's kind of like you playing Russian roulette. Like, hopefully, don't nobody die within that 2 years because
you ain't going to cover nothing.
That's what happened to Anna. her late husband had insurance because he found out he had cancer, and it took him like that, right? And he had a policy for like a year and 4 months before it was not 2 years yet, and they reimbursed the premium. I was like, man, and I didn't know anything about this at the time, right? I wasn't involved in this industry. It didn't sound right then. It definitely doesn't sound right. Now I'm in the industry. I'm like, man, that's just dirty.
Yeah, that's dirty.
They find ways not to pay you.
Not to pay you.
Your work policy. Do you know if your work policy, if you got a policy from work, it's not your insurance. It's the company's insurance. They change it whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. And did you know if you were on vacation, something happened to you, they don't have to pay. Right? You're not active on active payroll. They don't have to pay out the policy if something happens to you. The group insurance, it's like a 15% pay. That's what they pay out, 15%. It's just if you're paying a penny for it, you're paying too much. Yeah. So and then I'm get on the bandwagon of whole life. If you got whole life, switch it to term. That's the difference. You're gonna be heads and tails better. That's a whole show.
Yeah, on the term.
That's a whole show. Yeah. We don't even offer whole life or universal at our company. We won't offer it. Right? We do term insurance for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35 years. We're the only company that does a 35-year term. Right? So anyway, I'm getting off on
like Big Wall said, we got to have you back to do a show because a lot of the culture need that type of direction.
Yeah. And you know something? I am always looking for hungry people that want to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that right now. So if you know somebody that says, hey, look, it's sharp and it's got that entrepreneurial spirit. Look, I'm in Cincinnati. Give me a call, right? I'll put you to work, and you can change people's lives in this industry. A lot, just like being a martial artist, right? I change people's lives as a martial artist, right? I've saved people's lives, teaching them the skills they need to survive in the streets. I save people's lives. Yeah. Same thing in this industry. Same exact thing.
Man, look, you got me so into what you're saying because I love feeding the culture when they so hungry, man. Like what you're telling can really change people's lives, man. I really thank you for coming through. And look, we're gonna set up the financial series with Dr. Daniel, you know what I mean? Where he's gonna come through and help us and give us guidance and understanding on this financial cancer, as he called it. We got to get this on up out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my buddies who's a financial advisor, his family owns a TV station in Dayton, Ohio. So maybe we can get this show on that TV station.
Hey, you know what? Look, I ain't never finna argue when you making sense, Doc.
Let's do it. Yep, that's right. Let's do it.
Yeah, I hear you. We're always looking for good content, right? Always looking.
Absolutely.
So we do address the culture.
That's what we
bring
do.
The information.
We ain't ducking no smoke, so we definitely gonna have to have you come on back to spread your knowledge and wisdom, man. Look.
Well, I'll bring a couple of my buddies on this show, and we'll rock it out.
Look.
Hey, that's what we need.
I'm excited. You know what I mean? Just across the board, when we talk about just everything. You know what I mean? That's what we do this for, right, Pete?
Yeah, that's what it's for.
To change the culture. That's why T-Bone is on this platform as well, because he's from that same tree of knowledge. And you know, it's rare to come across a group of people because human nature is to find a secret and hold on to it. And keep it for yourself. You know, it's rare to find people like-minded that get knowledge and successful in it and want to spread and want to share it and give it to people who's less fortunate and don't have the understanding. So I love that. That excites me, and we appreciate you coming through the platform and addressing the culture with such enthusiasm.
Can I give a shout out on our websites real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, give it all.
MastersHallOfFame.com or .org, MastersHallOfFame.org. That if you're a martial artist out there and you know somebody that's worthy of being inducted, you need to get a hold of the Grandmaster Tibetan. I can't never say Darren's last name, but that guy. And let him know that you got people there that need to be You know, Darren, I've called you T-Bone, T-Bone. T-Bone. So Grandmaster T-Bone. I've only known him for 20 years. So, so MastersHallOfFame.org. My other website, a little bit about my martial arts, my history and past, is DanielHecht.com. That'll catch you up to my law enforcement and military and karate career, and then of course Daniel Hecht Financial, and that is what I do for the financial community, and my focus is on making sure that our public safety servants, police, military, and fire are well taken care of in their retirement years. So it's been an honor to be on this show. I am truly humbled. I am truly humbled to be on this show with you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out and talk to me.
Absolutely.
We sure will.
Look, we sure will. Look, it's like look, we got you on screen now, Doc. Ain't no
we got you.
You know we got you.
That's right. That's right.
So you guys are going to put this out so we can share it with people in the office, and I in the office, so I can go and brag a little bit.
Yeah. We'll definitely let you know whenever it's going to drop, and we'll have a promo ready for it and everything prior. So
very good.
Probably about 2 or 3 weeks.
Sounds good. Yeah, that production. People don't understand production.
No. See, so by the time this show released, we done recorded another show with you, and we done got it all lined up.
Yeah, that's right.
We spinning the block, Doc. You know what I'm talking about?
Darren, thank you for inviting me here.
You're very welcome. Honored to have you on here. You know, it's been very educational. The subject about diversity, how we treat the community, and how we recognize people. Yeah. A lot of that has to do with the Masters Hall of Fame in my heart too, of witnessing everything that went on with the Masters, you know. But I want to thank you for you to be on the show, Dan. Fantastic. I learned so much about you that I didn't know, and that's beautiful. But you know, P.Stock, Big Tone Wall, Audi 19. Thank you for this platform. Dan, great show, man. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
You already know the vibes. You know what we do.
Yeah.
We out here to address the culture. And we ain't going nowhere no time soon. We're going to be back with the financial doc giving us game. Y'all already know T-Bone going to be back. Y'all already know he our co-host. You know what I'm saying?
I think what Dan had to share, I think a lot of people want to listen to this. You know,
absolutely. That's why we're going to dig deeper. We're going to dig deeper. Like he said, we're going to get some other financial advisors on here as well.
Yeah, we're going
strategies, different techniques. We're going to make it a whole series. And y'all know, when we dig into a series, it's full on. You know what I'm talking about? It's full on.
Education. It's going to
absolutely. Absolutely. So y'all already know what we're going to do. We're going to pay us a few bills, and we're going to be back, me and P.Stock, to close out the show. And we're going to be here to address the culture, all right?
Fantastic.
Man, what it do, man? It's the boy Highway Yellow, man. And I just did the London Paris show, man. She's really dope. Hey, I advise you to get on here, man. You see Yellow on here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't see my chain, but I got to let you boy know, man. Switch high. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, but long story short, how I officially got the name Highway Yellow. So when I got up there, like, they literally treated me with royalty, like rolled out the red carpet and everything. Girl that had me come up there, she buzzed out and say, I'm going to start calling you Highway Yellow because you hit the road all the time. Man, first and foremost, you got to be yourself. Because you trying to be somebody else on a song, like, it's not going to work. I mean, you got people that's literally watching, waiting to prove you wrong. What it do, man? It's your boy Highway Yellow, man. I just did London Paris show on Adjust the Culture, man. Hey, I advise y'all to get on here, man. It's a good network, man. If you are up-and-coming artist or anything, any entrepreneur, man, you need to get on here for real, man. That boy Highway Yellow, man. Switcher House, signing off. Hold up.
Great show.
I ain't not P. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm talking about. You know, the information and everything, that's huge for the culture.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need. And that's what we want to do. Bring them information, you know, from a diverse group of people that's all doing it hands on. You know, it ain't no second hand, no third hand. You're hearing it straight.
Yeah, and at a high level, you know what I mean?
At a very high level.
The doctor talking about making you a millionaire by retirement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is what we call financial freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's be clear. Let's be clear. When you in this country, when you in this world, you're on that hamster wheel and you're just trying to work. You're trying to work.
People live paycheck to paycheck.
There's people out here. One major tragedy will put you in debt, and they don't even realize. You know what I mean? And when we talk about the different tools and the different traits that the doc got, we talk about financial, using the same principles that he learned from being a martial artist, bringing it to the Martial Art Hall of Fame, bringing it into being a police officer, all across the board. Those are the things that the culture needs to continue to grow.
Exactly.
And I love it. I love 100%. It. You know what I mean? And that's and y'all know when we say we're gonna spin a block, we are going to spin the block. You know what I'm talking about? You already know.
There's so much more to tap into.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tap into it. He'll be back. He'll bring some other financial experts with him. And let's go. Put your hats on, get your notepads out, everything. And definitely share, like, comment, leave comments. Let us know what you want to hear. We're going to bring it anyway. We're bringing it. But leave comments, share, like, smash the like button, and let us know. Reach out. Holla at us.
Let us know. You know what I'm saying? And if you got some questions that you want us to ask the doc, you want us to ask T-Bone, let us know. You know what I mean? We will definitely ask them because you already know we're not ducking no smoke. We appreciate all the love. Shouts out to everybody that's been watching the platform. It has been amazing. We are growing in such a dope fashion. Nice. We're going to keep giving it to you. And we are aware that time is something that we can't get back. So we appreciate everybody coming through, giving us some of theirs. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So until next week, I'm your boy Big Wall.
I'm your man P.Stock. We going.
And this is Address the Culture. And like I always say, your culture makes you who you are. So make sure they respect you. We're going to catch you on the next episode. We up out of here. Peace. What's going on with you, Lizette? How you doing?
It's our first episode. And I got my drink ready to go.
You know what I mean? Jane don't know the man going crazy.
I'm just really proud of it. I'm getting a lot of good, great feedback.
So when I was in the group Dream, I was a teenager. We were surrounded by a lot of toxicity. So
help. You don't have to explain as to why you didn't do or why you didn't do this or why you didn't do that.
And it was because of my husband standing there as my pillar of strength. That would be the ultimate, is to have my life back.
And the people that we got on tonight can smack people too.
The difference with back then and now is, as Darren said, I'd have bruises on my palm and the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So when I had to knock on the door, he had to knock on the door with his elbow.
It's part of why I named my martial arts organization Rainbow Warrior Martial Arts. It was both a tip to the hat to Hawaii martial arts.
Right on.
But also the part of the reason why I chose the Rainbow Warrior name is because there is a legend in many of the nations of North America, the Native American nations, even though many of those nations didn't actually connect and have regular dialogue, they all shared this legend. And the legend was that one day the world would become sick, and then the warriors of the rainbow would appear, and they would unite all people, and we would save the world together. And what did the Rainbow Warrior do? It sailed right into where they were getting ready to set off a nuke, and it sat there. And they said, you're going to set it off, you're going to kill a bunch of people, don't do it. So what did the French do? They sent a bunch of commandos on the ship, and they blew it up. So that was the end for that Rainbow Warrior. But we keep fighting on, we keep going, right? There's no
hooray for the Illuminati. Hooray for the Illuminati.
Dressing the